Good morning, my Real News Media TV family. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning, and I'm wishing for everyone a wonderful and a productive day. And in the news this morning, bank delivery man killed in collision with a garbage truck. A bank delivery man is now dead as a result of injuries he sustained in a motor vehicle collision in St. Catherine on Monday, June 4. The deceased is 21-year-old Tariq Jackson of Pittsburgh Road, Homestead in the parish. According to the police, about 3:30 p.m., Jackson was riding his green Zamco CG200 motorcycle along the roadway when he overtook a line of traffic and collided with a garbage disposal truck. He reportedly sustained multiple injuries and was transported to hospital, where he succumbed to his injuries the following day. Man murdered while standing at a gate. The police are now probing the circumstances under which a man was shot and killed at his home in Kingston on Wednesday, June 5. Dead is 23-year-old Tushawn Walker, otherwise called TJ, of Barbican Road. Reports are that about 3:20 p.m., Walker was standing at his gate when he was approached by an armed man. It is reported that the man opened gunfire at Walker, hitting him in the upper body and back before he fled. Walker was taken to hospital, where he was pronounced dead. Police charge a man who allegedly stoned a woman in an argument. A man who threw stones at a woman and then later threatened her with a firearm following an argument has been charged by the police. Charged with assault at a common law and the possession of prohibited weapon is 26-year-old Oshan Thomas, otherwise called Smiley, a laborer of 3rd Street, Trenchtown in Kingston. According to the police, on Wednesday about 10:15 p.m., Thomas and a woman were having an argument, during which Thomas threw stones at her. Thomas then reportedly left the location and returned with a firearm, which he pointed at the woman and threatened her. The police said the woman ran and alerted officers, who later arrived at the location and apprehended him. Thomas was subsequently charged. His court date is being arranged. Civilian dead, cop hospitalized following alleged confrontation in St. Anne. The man who allegedly attacked a police constable with a machete during a confrontation in Hyattsfield, St. Anne Thursday morning has succumbed to his injuries. The deceased has been identified as 51-year-old construction worker Herbert Hines of Hyattsfield. According to the lawmen, about 9 a.m., the constable was among a team of officers who responded to a report of a domestic dispute involving Hines. Upon seeing the police, Hines ran and the police gave chase. Further reports are that Hines then attacked and chopped the constable. In response, the constable opened gunfire, hitting Hines. Both Hines and the wounded constable were taken to hospital, where Hines was pronounced dead and the cop was admitted in serious but stable condition. Meanwhile, commander for the St. Anne Police Division, Senior Superintendent Dwight Powell, has called on citizens not to attack the police. I would want to say, especially to our citizens, not to attack our police, because we would rather not have the confrontation. And so again, this incident happened and we are giving the constable the support. We really regret the loss of life, but it is in the nature of what we do in law enforcement, he said. JPS workers attacked while removing illegal connections in Old Harbor. The Jamaica Public Service Company is reporting that 2 of its workers were recently attacked while removing illegal connections in the Burke Road area of Old Harbor, St. Catherine. The workers received injuries to their face and the chest, while the windshield of a van operated by a contracting firm was damaged by missiles. According to the utility company, last Friday, a team of workers and contractors came under attack from residents of Burke Road who sought to have the illegal connections remain in place. The police who had accompanied the crew apprehended one of the aggressors, to which persons responded by hurling stones. As the situation escalated, the police were forced to fire shots into the air to facilitate the safe retreat of the team and to restore order. A report was made to the Old Harbor Police Station. Jamaican rideshare drivers are concerned about a livelihood amid a crackdown. Struggling to make ends meet on just the salary from his day job, Mario Peters started working for InDrive in April of this year. After taking home nearly $200,000 in his first full month of offering the rideshare service in May, it seemed like he made the right choice. But a crackdown of the growing industry threatens the livelihood of Peters and many others who have turned to the sector in recent times to supplement their income in Jamaica's tough economic climate. It works out, Peters, a 33-year-old father of two, said of his gig as an InDrive operator. I could hardly find money to put food on the table, but last month was the most stress-free I have been in a long time. The announcement made by the government mashed up my meds, he told the news on Wednesday. The announcement that Peters makes a reference to is a temporary ban on ride-sharing providers implemented by Transport Minister Darrell Vaz on Tuesday, a day after the police said a convicted sex offender who offered the service is implicated in the murder of teacher Daniel Anglin, who went missing after taking a ride to work. Ride-share drivers are calling the action by government a knee-jerk reaction to a horrendous crime that appears on the surface to be hasty. I think the minister is being hasty. Vaz didn't think this through. This is just causing unnecessary stress and difficulties for law-abiding Jamaicans trying to make extra money as rideshare drivers. Marlon Williams, a driver who has been working with InDrive for the past year, said. The rideshare services offered by InDrive and Uber are by reputable people, some of whom already have a 9-to-5. In life, everything comes with a risk, but rideshare drivers can be safer for the public. Because as a driver, you have to provide your driver's license and address to be able to provide services. So there's an information trail if anything illegal happens, Williams added. He said that rideshare providers offer an important service to the Jamaican public while allowing drivers to earn valuable extra income through the gig economy on their own work schedule. InDrive allows you to make extra money on your own time. It's very convenient. Drivers on the app will reverse into lanes in tough ghetto areas, while regular taxis don't do that. They charge less for the same services offered by regular taxi drivers, and they have more comfortable and cleaner rides in general, so they provide an important and valuable service, he said. However, since the introduction of the services to Jamaica 4 years ago, stakeholders of the public transport sector have expressed their concerns over the absence of a regulatory regime for ride-sharing providers who, according to Edgerton Newman, president of Transport Operators Development Sustainable Services, operate in the country without proper documentation of the government. He said Monday's discovery of the remains of the young teacher brought into sharp focus the need to bring to books the Uber InDrive ride-sharing companies. Vaz has proposed an immediate ban on the services pending adherence to regulations, saying that the directive will remain in effect for 12 months or until a regulatory regime for the use of ride-hailing applications and the services have been established. Calls mount for sex offender registry to be made public. Pressure is mounting for the government to make the sexual offenders registry public to prevent repeat offenders from carrying out attacks on unsuspecting individuals. The sex offender registry was set up in 2014 following the passage of the Sexual Offences Act of 2009. Access to the registry is not available to the public. On Monday, the police revealed that the suspect in the disappearance of primary school teacher Daniel Anglin was a convicted sex offender in Jamaica as well as Antigua and Barbuda. Gender specialist Professor Opal Palmer Adisa says it is important that a consideration be given to making the register public.
We have to decide who are we going to protect, our citizens and our children and our women, or are we going to protect those who are convicted and have been perpetrators of a terrible crime? So yes, I do think it should be public, and I'm very mindful that because of our culture and what we call community justice, that there could be some victimization, and I would certainly want to mitigate against that. But my first and primary concern is to ensure that people like this teacher and others are not victimized and killed because of a known perpetrator. And so yes, we do need to have a registry, and we need to have it public and have access.
Leonard Green, president of the Advocates Association of Jamaica, said while he supports making the sex offender registry public, there should also be a caveat to protect the rights of individuals who commit minor offenses.
Under our legislation, a person could get on that register by virtue of a simple offense of sexual touching in certain circumstances, which is really a parish court offense. So, although the original intention of the legislation was to protect people who are predators, we also have the caveat that we need very carefully to ensure that persons' rights are dealt with in a way that they are not discriminated against. So the whole business of balancing protection with discrimination is one of the things that we should take into account when giving consideration to this particular issue.
But the Executive Director of Jamaicans for Justice, Michael Jackson, has said she is not in favor of a public registry in the current form. She is of the view that the sex offenders registry should be risk-based and not offense-based.
To ensure that it looks, for example, at the nature of the crime, whether or not there's likelihood of the person reoffending, and perhaps broaden some of the areas that are there. The last thing I want to point out to the listeners is that the categories that are there, I think they can be broadened and certainly strengthened, but I think the question that I would ask, are these categories widely known to the public? Are we utilizing the provisions under the registry before we say go wide, go public? So I think that type of assessment is going to be needed. And the last thing here is that I think we have to be guided by data.
Guys, thanks for watching. Please join us this afternoon at 2 p.m. for another news update.